What if I told you that one of the most effective guides to living a good life, to finding real peace of mind, was written almost 2,000 years ago, and not by some king or a powerful emperor, but by a man who was born a slave? It's pretty incredible. So let's dive in and unlock this amazing little manual for the mind, the Enchiridion of Epictetus.
Right off the bat, we get this absolute bombshell of an idea. Think about it. It's not the traffic jam that's making you furious. It's your judgment about the traffic jam. The story you're telling yourself that it's this horrible thing that's ruining your day. It's not someone's comment that hurts your feelings. It's your own belief that their words have the power to diminish you. All our suffering, Epictetus says, comes from inside, from the stories we tell ourselves. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack, how to start telling a different story.
So, who was this guy, Epictetus? Well, his story is just wild. He was born into slavery around 50 AD in what's now Turkey. He actually ended up being owned by a powerful secretary to the infamous Emperor Nero in Rome. But even as a slave, he had this brilliant, hungry mind. He somehow managed to study Stoic philosophy, and he got so good at it that he eventually became this world-famous teacher in his own right.
Now here's the really wild part. Epictetus himself, he never wrote a single word down, not one. Everything we know about his teachings comes to us from one of his students, a guy named Flavius Arrian. Arrian was so completely blown away by his teacher that he would just sit in his lectures and furiously scribble everything down in shorthand. He later took all those notes and boiled them down into the short, powerful handbook, the Enchiridion, which literally means the manual or handbook, a guide you could carry with you through life.
Okay, so the book wastes no time. Chapter 1 just drops the single most important idea in all of Stoicism right in your lap. It's a distinction that seems so simple on the surface, but if you can really truly get your head around it, I'm not kidding, it can change absolutely everything.
And this is it, the dichotomy of control. It's so simple. On the left, you've got the stuff that is completely 100% yours. Your opinions, your goals, what you desire, basically your entire inner world. That's your kingdom. Then, on the right, well, that's everything else. Your body, your money, your reputation, what other people think about you. Epictetus says that pretty much all human unhappiness comes from one simple mistake. We spend our lives trying to control the stuff on the right, and we completely neglect the stuff on the left, the only stuff we actually have power over. Just think about it. How much time do we waste worrying about our reputation instead of just focusing on our character?
And this is the incredible promise. If you can actually live this way, if you can pour all your energy into your own mind, your judgments, your choices, your character, you become truly free. You see, external stuff can rage all at once, like a storm outside a fortress, but it can't touch you inside. No one can force you to believe something. No one can make you a bad person. This is how you find a peace of mind that doesn't depend on getting a promotion or people liking you. It's unshakable.
So, okay, that's the big game-changing idea. But theory is one thing, right? How do you actually use this when you're stuck in traffic or your boss is driving you crazy? Well, the rest of the Enchiridion is basically a Stoic's toolkit, a bunch of mental exercises to apply this core principle to the messiness of real life. Let's pull out a few tools and see how they work.
This sounds almost silly at first, right? Your favorite cup. But it's so profound. It's an exercise in seeing things as they really are, without slathering them with our emotional baggage. This isn't about being a cold, emotionless robot. It's about acknowledging reality. A cup is made of clay. Its nature is to be breakable. So when it breaks, it's not a personal tragedy, it's just a cup doing what cups sometimes do. By practicing this with small things, you train your mind to handle the big things with that same sense of perspective and calm.
Okay, this next one is a total mind bender. Epictetus tells us we never really own anything external anyway. Not our car, not our house, not even our relationships. We're just caretakers. We're borrowing them from the universe for a while. So when something's gone, a job, a possession, anything, we haven't lost it. We've simply returned it. Just changing that one word completely reframes the experience and helps us detach our sense of self from things that were never going to last forever anyway.
Now let's apply this to something we all deal with, other people. Someone says something nasty to you. Where does the sting of that insult actually come from? Does it come from their words floating through the air? Or does it come from your decision, your judgment, that those words are an insult? Epictetus is crystal clear here. The power is always with you. You are the one who chooses to feel offended. They can't make you feel anything without your consent.
So how do you do that in the heat of the moment? Here's the practical advice. It's all about creating a pause. Think about it. Between the event, the insult, the bad news, and your emotional reaction, there's a tiny little gap, a space. And in that space, that's where your freedom lives. If you can just learn to widen that gap, to gain time and respite, you can choose a wise response instead of just having a knee-jerk emotional reaction.
But what about the really big stuff, like grief? People often think Stoicism is about suppressing emotions, but that's a total misunderstanding. Look at this advice. It's so deeply compassionate. It says, when someone is in pain, you should be there for them. Offer sympathy, connect with them, even groan with him. But, and this is the key, you do it while remembering the core principle. You can be an incredibly empathetic and caring friend without letting their storm pull you under too. You maintain your own inner calm.
All right, so we've got the core principle and the toolkit, but what's the end game here? What is all this for? It's all driving toward this goal of learning to play our part in the world, whatever that part may be, and finding a profound sense of freedom right there.
Epictetus gives us this amazing metaphor. Life is a play. The universe, or God, or whatever you want to call it, is the playwright and director. It assigns you a role. Maybe you get to be the hero, maybe you're a supporting character, maybe you're just an extra. Here's the thing. You don't get to choose your part. Your one and only job is to play the part you've been given with everything you've got, with excellence, with integrity, with virtue. Stop wishing you had a different script and just focus on being the best actor you can be.
And here's another beautiful metaphor for how to want things in life. Imagine you're at a fancy dinner party. You wouldn't just lunge across the table and grab a dish from the other end, right? Of course not. You wait patiently for it to be passed to you, you take a reasonable portion, and you pass it on. Epictetus says that's exactly how we should treat everything in life. Wealth, career opportunities, relationships. Accept what comes to you gracefully, enjoy it while it's there, and don't spend your life desperately craving what hasn't reached you yet. And this, right here, is the ultimate payoff. When you consistently practice this, focusing only on your own actions, your own judgments, and gracefully accepting everything else, you become resilient. You become, in his words, unconquerable. Not because you're a superhero who can bend the world to your will. No, you're unconquerable because the world can no longer bend you. You've stopped fighting battles you were never going to win. And that, right there, is real freedom.
So you might be thinking, okay, that's all interesting, but this is a 2,000-year-old guide for a Roman slave. What does it really have to do with my life, with my iPhone and my 21st century problems? Well, as it turns out, everything.
I mean, just look at the influence of this tiny book. Frederick the Great, the King of Prussia, literally carried it with him into battle. Adam Smith, the father of modern economics, studied it. It's been a foundation for countless thinkers and leaders throughout history, and a lot of modern therapy, like cognitive behavioral therapy, is built on these exact same principles. The reason it's so timeless is because human nature hasn't really changed. We still get frustrated, we still worry about what people think, we still search for meaning in a chaotic world.
So I'll leave you with this. This is the central challenge of the Enchiridion, and it's a question for you to take with you. Seriously, what in your life would change if you truly, deeply believed that your own mind was the only thing you could really control? What anxieties would just melt away? What anger would lose its power? What new kind of strength and peace would you find? That's the challenge, and it's just as powerful today as it was in a dusty classroom in ancient Greece.